So after middle childhood, we're going to talk about adolescence and physical development. When you try to look at some literature or books, hindi magkasundo kung ano yung age ng adolescence. Yung iba, it's 10 to 20 or 12 to 19. So to be consistent, we're going to use the terms according to World Health Organization. So they called the young people whose age were 10 to 24 years old. This is the largest category. And then the youth, these are the young people who are 15 to 24. And adolescents, this is the second decade of life. It's 10 to 19 years old. So for consistency, we refer to the adolescent stage as those who belong to whose age 10 to 19 years old. Granville Stanley Hall was the first to coin the term adolescence in 1904. Granville Stanley Hall wrote a series of adolescence, wrote a lot of series or books on adolescence. Why then, in 1904, this phase of life was invented? It did not exist. No one thought of adolescence as a unique stage. What do you think is the reason? So why? Why then before 1904? Before 1904, the concept of children was radically different from young people at that time. During the mid 1800s, they were called little adults. During this time also, there was no distinguishing features except for height and the facial appearance between childhood and adulthood. No, they were treated as little adults. Ang pinagkaiba lang, mas maliit lang yung mga bata, tsaka syempre mas batang tignan, mas cute sila. And then, sabi ni Jean-Jacques Rousseau, their needs are different. We need to relate to them in a different way. So si Rousseau is a French national. So this idea from Europe napunta ng North America. During the 1800s, people went to work. This is during the Industrial Revolution. So before 1850, work and home were intertwined. Sa bahay lahat ginagawa. Nasa bahay ang trabaho. Sila ang nagtatanim because before the Industrial Revolution, you have the agricultural. Silang gumagawa ng damit nila, sila nagmamanufacture ng mga goods nila. So, during the Industrial Revolution, factories sprang up. People left home and went to work. So, this created a social disruption. It created a line between work and home. So, ano ang nangyari? Kapag nagkaroon ng mga factory, hindi na the same, hindi na sa bahay yung trabaho. They have to go out. And then the biggest question was, should children work? Sabi ng iba, yes. Because they already feed the chicken. They can clean the house. Ang next na question is, should children go to factory? So during this rise of the Industrial Revolution, the people from the rural areas migrated to urban areas. So example, if you are from the United States, no, kung nasa rural ka, nagpunta ka ng New York City. So there were several issues back then. Because of those family who migrated to the city, and then children were not allowed to work, there's a lot of homeless children in the city. Whereas, kasi yung mga magulang nila nagtatrabaho. So, probably, yung mga nagtatrabaho nilang magulang, nandun sila nakatira sa factory. So, yung mga bata, hindi alam kung saan magstay. And so, what happened then was, yung kwento, may mayaman na babae nakakita ng bata na babae. Tapos, hindi niya alam kung saan agency niya iiwanan, no? Hindi naman pwede sa ampunan. Tapos yung inilapit niya sa animal welfare, merong animal welfare, pero walang human welfare. So from then, nagkaroon ng human welfare. Yung mga bata na nasa kalye, nandun napunta sa human welfare. And then what happened? Nagkaroon ng mandatory education in the United States. Yung mga bata na nasa city, they study. But those who were left in the provinces or in the rural areas, ang start ng classes nila October, November hanggang December. Pagdating ng December to April, these children need to do agricultural work. No, they plow the farm, nag-harvest sila ng mga tinanim nila. And then during this time, nagkaroon ng mandatory education. It's common na example, you are in grade 4, you have classmates who are 17, 18, or 19 years old. Diba? And this started the beginning of a youth culture. Nagkaroon ng age segregation. How did it start? Yung mga parents ng mga batang ito, they no longer work at home. They went to the factory. The kids went to school. And during also that time, they began to see the rise of the radio. And for the first time, communications were directed to young people. No, they were recognized as young people. So itong mga forces na to nag-converge. Industrial Revolution, nagkaroon ng mandatory education in the United States, and the rise of the radio. And so, ano ang sabi ni Stanley Hall? Something unique is going on here. Kaya, he coined the term adolescence. These are the hormone levels by sex and pubertal stage for testosterone and estradiol. Many hormones contribute to the beginning of puberty, but most notably a major rush of estrogen for girls and testosterone for boys. Hormones play an organizational role. It primes the body to behave in a certain way once puberty begins, and an activational role, triggering certain behavioral and physical changes. During puberty, the adolescent's hormonal balance shifts strongly towards an adult state. The process is triggered by the pituitary gland, which secretes a surge of hormonal agents into the bloodstream and initiates a chain reaction. So if you're going to look at this chart, if you're going to look at the testosterone level, no, for boys on the first and the second year of the pubertal stage, biglang taas, no, mapupunta ng like more than 400 ml. But the girls also have some levels of testosterone hanggang 100 on the first year. And then tataas lang yung pagdating sa fifth year. Pagdating naman sa estradiol, the girls, of course, has more estradiol, no? Especially for the estradiol, for the first year of the pubertal stage, nandun lang sa mga 10 ml and then it shoots up sa girls, no? Pagdating ng fourth year, no? Biglang tataas. And then sa boys naman, they also have a level, they also have estradiol in their bloodstream. No, mas mataas ka nga pa nga pagka sa year 1. Tapos, on the 5th year ng pubertal stage, nandun din sila sa more than 30. Puberty occurs over two distinct phases. The first phase is the adrenarche. This begins at age 6 to 8 years of age, and this involves an increased production of adrenal androgens that contribute to a number of pubertal changes, such as skeletal growth. The second phase of puberty, gonadarchy, begins several years later and involves increased production of hormones. You have the estrogen and the testosterone that governs physical and sexual maturation. So in this stage, the girls will have their first menstrual period or menarche, and the boys will experience their first ejaculation, the spermarchy. During puberty, primary and secondary sex characteristics develop and mature. The primary sex characteristics are organs specifically needed for reproduction, the uterus and the ovaries in females, and testes in males. The secondary sex characteristics are physical signs of sexual maturation that do not directly involve sex organs, such as development of breast and hips in girls, and development of facial hair and a deepened voice in boys. Both sexes experience development of pubic and underarm hair at saka yung development ng mga sweat glands nila. So these are the sequence of growth for girls and for boys. So first for the girls, the first to develop is the breast, followed by the pubic hair, the axillary hair, change in voice, change in skin, increased width and depth of pelvis, and muscular development. For the boys, the first to develop are pubic hair, axillary hair, muscular development, facial hair, change in voice, change in skin, and broadening of shoulders. So if you're going to compare the two, um, external yung makikita na pagbabago dun sa girls because the breast, no, nagkakaroon ng a bud or lumalaki yung breast. But for the boys, yung sign yung pubic hair is, internal nakatago. Then saka followed by the pubic hair. There's also a change in voice for girls, no, nagka-crack din yung voice nila. And then dun sa mga lalaki, pumipiyok, no, yung sinasabing pumipiyok. And then there's a change in skin because of the production of oil glands. Diba, one common problem of adolescence is yung pimples or acne. And then pinakalas na nade-develop sa girls is yung muscular development, but it's the third to develop sa mga boys. Then the last yun sa mga boys is broadening of shoulders. So these are the general growth pattern for boys and girls. Yung kanina, that's the sequence. Yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng physical or secondary sex characteristics na development. Ito naman, general growth patterns. For the boys, there's an increased shoulder width. Their voice becomes striking, deep to high tones as a result of enlarged larynx and vocal cords. They have a lean body mass. The muscles are well developed. The sebaceous gland is more active. Fat deposits present over body parts. There's heavy sweating, and extremity hairs are more. For the girls, due to hormonal effect, bones are more strong and they have broader hips. The voice becomes slightly deeper and considerably fuller. Kung sa mga boys, meron silang lean body mass, sa mga girls, chubby yung body nila. And then, the muscle mass increase is proportionate to general tissue growth. The sebaceous gland is also active. Fat deposits is present over body parts. There's less sweating in girls compared sa heavy sweating ng boys. And there's less extremity hair. Ang daming hair ng mga lalaki sa legs sa mga girls. Hindi naman ganun kadami yung hair nila. This is the normal range and average development of sexual characteristics in males and females. Yung sa males, it's color blue and pink for the females. Etong maroon, this is the onset, average onset, and yung light blue, it's the average completion. Average completion nung sexual characteristics. So, sinong nauuna what's the first thing to develop, no? Ito, you have the breast growth. For girls, no, pwede mag-start yan as early as 8 and the average onset, 11 years old. And then the average completion is at 15, pero merong mga late. Ito late, no? Pagka after ng completion average, this is late na. Ito, before the onset, this is early. So, yung normal or yung average, you look at the onset. Ito, 11. And then, 15. Yung completion. So, early ka, yung breast growth mo, pag 8 years old ka, 9 and 10. Okay, next, we have, for the males, yung testicular growth here. Diba? As early as 9. As late as 17. Meron pa yung testicular growth. And the average onset ay 11 and the average completion nasa 15. What's next? Next, we have the height spurt. Na unang tumatangkad, nag-i-increase ang height ng mga girls. 9 years old. And then the onset, it's 11. Pagka naman sa lalaki, 12 years old. So, nauna yung mga girls kesa sa boys. But, if you're going to look at the boys, ang span niya, 10 early, no? 10 early. Pero hanggang 17, mag-18 sila. Lumalaki pa yung boys. But, pagdating sa girls, hanggang age, this age lang, oh. Age 15, you already have your full height, or that's the height spurt. And then, nag-slow down na yan. Pwede ka pang tumangkad naman. Pero slowly na. Hindi na yung height spurt na 6 inches in a year ang taas mo. Next, we have for the girls, menarche. 10 years old. And then, penile growth. Same lang din, no? 10 years old for the boys. Whoa. Yung onset ng menarche, 13. Average. Diba? Yung sa average ng boys, ng penile growth, 12. Okay. Pero yung iba, no, malaki na pagdating ng 10. Tapos, yung late, mga 16. And then, we have the growth of pubic hair. Nauna pa rin yung girls, 11 years old. That's the onset average. Walang mas maaga sa growth of pubic hair. And then, yung sa mga boys naman, by 12 years old sila. Yung age ng onset nila, parang same lang din with the penile growth. But then, since maaga yun sa girls na nag-start ang growth of pubic hair, maaga rin na nag-stop. Pero pagdating sa boys, hanggang 15 years old, magsi-16, meron pa rin growth of pubic hair. Kasi nga yung boys rin, no, they're also growing in height, adding height, and testicular growth, and penile growth. Physical growth, the growth spurt. The term growth spurt describes the rapid acceleration in height and weight that marks the beginning of adolescence. This is a growth rate that is faster than any growth rate since the children were infants. So, yung isang may growth spurt, yung stage ng infancy na ang bilis lumaki ng mga bata. Ito naman, ang bilis lumaki ng mga teenager. So, yung growth spurts sa girls, it's age 8 to 13, and sa boys, it's age 10 to 16. No, refer back dun sa chart kanina ng growth spurt, nandun yung onset, nandun din yung average completion. Paiba-iba kasi. Kaya ang haba ng range niya. Okay, and then we would refer to puberty naman. This is the point at which a person reaches sexual maturity and is physically capable of fathering or conceiving a child. Puberty, ibig sabihin, meron ng sexual maturity. Yung adolescence, yun yung stage. Adolescence is a stage, just like middle childhood, early childhood. Yung puberty nga lang, it happens during the adolescent stage. In addition to growing taller and heavier, the body assumes an adult-like appearance during the adolescent growth spurt. The most noticeable changes are the appearance of the breast. Diba yun yung unang nakikita pagka sa babae? And widening of the hips. And then sa boys naman, there's broadening of the shoulders. Facial features also assume adult proportion. As the forehead protrudes, no? Lumalapad yung mga noo kasi kasabay ng paglapad ng noo, lumalaki rin yung nandun sa loob ng noo. Diba? The frontal, prefrontal cortex. The nose and jaw become more prominent and the lips enlarge. So if you're going to look at the picture ni yung dalawang child star doon sa title page ng physical development, diba? Ibang-iba yung itsura nung nasa middle childhood sila tsaka yung nasa adolescence. And because of this, yung mga changes in body parts nila, ang nangyayari, excuse me, ang nangyayari yung mga biglang lumalaki, no, biglang tumataas sa mga bata. Kasi the direction of the growth naman ng sa body is nag-start sa head, tapos sa extremity sa arms, sa legs, tapos mahuhuli yung development ng torso. And then, so what happens with that? Hindi naman kasi sabay-sabay yan eh. Nagiging silang clumsy. Tapos yung body appearance nila, awkward. No? Tingnan mo tong si Julia. Kung titingnan mo yung sa picture, ang haba na ng legs niya. Ang haba na rin ng mga arms niya. Pero ang liit pa nung kanyang katawan. No? Hindi ganun ka-proportion. Look at the pictures ng mga no, compare the pictures ng middle childhood tsaka nung sa adolescence. Hindi talaga siya proportion. So, clumsy, no? Pwede sila maging clumsy. That's why, in middle childhood, we were discussing about physical activities. Mas maganda, you involve the child as early as middle childhood, no, edad nila, to get into sports and physical activities. Para pagdating nila ng adolescent stage, mas daming changes, no, physically. Pagka na-involve sila sa sports, hindi sila masyadong mahirapan mag-adjust dun sa physical development, pagtangkad nila, paghaba ng legs nila, paglaki ng paa, paghaba ng arms nila. No, kasi, nagawa na nila yun in middle childhood. Hindi ganun na masyadong pansin. Kaya nga sinasabi, di ba, yung one effect of itong mga physical changes, yung kung sa Amerika, at this stage, yung mga girls, diba nag-cheer dancing sila? Or like in the Philippines, involved sila sa sports like volleyball. That's very advisable para sa mga girls to get involved into sports. Nakakatulong kasi siya. Especially, diba, when we talk about middle childhood, hindi pwedeng i-diet ang mga bata. Pagdating naman sa adolescence, madami ng fats and muscles. So, dapat ma-exercise yung mga muscles. All over, di ba? Muscles and fats. It's spread out all over the body. Yung sa mga boys, they have basketball. Now, when they started going into that sport, that's very helpful and beneficial for them. Next, we have reactions toward puberty and physical development. During the past generations, no, yung reactions toward puberty, it's very traumatic and disturbing. No, try to think of your lolo o lola, your nanay, or yung, I'm not sure, yung mga ate mo, ay mga ate nyo, kung ano yung reaction nila sa puberty, no? Pagdating sa Pilipinas, we heard stories of, it's very traumatic kasi, di ba? Kung yung sa first menstruation, yung menarche, no? Nag-worry sila, bakit merong tugo? Baka iniisip nila meron silang sakit o kaya meron silang sugat. Yung iba nga umiiyak pa, no? So, yung iba natutrauma. At saka nade-disturb. And then, kung titignan nyo rin kasi in the history, during the 1900s, yung first menarche ng mga women during that time, ang onset the onset of their menarche na sa 14 to 15 years old, tapos pababa. Nang pababa yung age, hanggang right now, no, we can have as early as 8 years old. Anong contribution nito? I've read in one article that, it's a Korean article, yung mga sabon na ginagamit, pwede siya mag-trigger ng early puberty, tapos makeup. Siyempre, ang sinasabi pa, diba, pagka sa diet, mas marami kang fats, mas early ang iyong maturation yung sa puberty. Right now naman, yung mga girls, there's a mixture of positive and negative emotions, which depends on prior knowledge and family member support. Like, for example, ngayon sa school, no, if you remember maybe during your middle childhood, may mga nagpupunta sa school, nagpapa-seminar, yung mga, example, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, yung mga may-ari ng mga modest, mga napkin, diba, nagpo-promote sila ng ganyan. So, if you have prior knowledge, you know what to do. Hindi ka na matutrauma. And then, family member support. No, you have your mother, kung ikaw ay babae. But then, pagka naman sa mga boys, halimbawa yun sa first ejaculation nila, few of them get information from parents. Most of them, they get information from reading material or maybe sa mga kabarkada nila, no, siguro nagko-compare sila kung if they experience that yung first ejaculation. So, sa madaling salita, boys get less social support. So, what do adolescents think about these physical changes that they are experiencing? Kung sa Western culture, like say America, sa America, no, or even here, girls typically become concerned about their appearance. And they also worry how other people will respond to them. Bawa, yung ninong mo, dati namamasko ka, liit-liit mo pa, tapos ngayon, Pasko na, mamamasko ka na ulit, biglang ang laki mo na. Sasabihin, ang laki mo na, hindi ka nabibigyan ng pamasko. Diba? That's how they worry, no? Parang pag malaki ka na, hindi ka na pwedeng mamasko. Hindi ka pa nga nagtatrabaho eh. Okay, and that's just an example. Yung sa appearance nila kasi biglang, especially, no, halimbawa sa breast formation, bigla kang, yung iba, they don't like it, no? They slouch, they don't stand tall. In general class, yung mga teenager, they want to be perceived as attractive, no? Na maganda sila yung sa mga body changes nila. And then, yung mga bodily changes, it's congruent with their feminine ideal, no? Sexy sila, yung ganon, slim, pagka ganon, okay. Kaya lang, they are also concerned with how they are growing too tall or too large. So, pagka ganon, ang nangyayari, yung body image nila, nagkakaroon sila ng negative body image from early to late adolescence. Sabi rin, even well-proportioned teenager may try to compensate for perceived physical faults by slouching, not wearing high-heeled shoes, or trying diets. And then, girls whose bodies develop at a pace that is different from average, kung yung iba, no, ang bilis nilang lumaki, or slower, no, kung late maturer sila, or early maturer, sila yung mga mas prone sa negative body image. Like for example, yung kakilala ko, yung anak niya, ang bilis lumaki. Kinukwento niya na so mabilis lumaki yung anak niya na babae. Yung mga friends niya, maliliit. So kapag ka sa pila raw, pag pinapapila sila, nandun siya sa huli kasi ang tangkad niya. Tapos yung mga friends niya, nandun sa unahan. So hindi niya makakachika yung mga friends niya na late maturer kasi nandun sa harapan. Pero siya, early maturer, matangkad lang siya. Ang kasama niya, yung mga ibang early maturer din na nandun sa likod, na matatangkad din, kaya lang, yung mga early maturer, na kagaya niya, dalaga na, pero siya, um, malaki lang siyang tignan, matangkad, pero isip bata pa. Diba? So, yung physical development niya, it's not congruent dun sa ikinikilos niya. Kasi kilos bata pa, pero itsura na siyang dalaga at malaki na at matangkad na. So people would expect a lot of things dun sa mga ganun ng itsura ng mga bata. Especially sa mga babae, no? Uutusan na, pagagawain na sa bahay, sasabihin lagi sa kanila, ang laki mo na eh. Malaki ka na, kaya mo na yan. Yung mga ganyang klase ng attitude din ng mga tao na nasa paligid. So, what happens? These girls would get unwanted attention. Yung iba, no, yung mga early maturer, kasi sabihin, talaga ka na, tutuksohin sila, diba, nagugulat sila, bigla kang laki. Sasabihin, may boyfriend ka na, magtatanong ng ganyan. And then, yung mga early maturers, mas prone sila sa depression. Because of the negative body image na nangyayari. Plus, eating disorder, pwedeng they may try to control their weight, no, magpapapayat sila, or iba binge eating in order to maintain the slimness or sexy or feminine ideal. And then yung iba naman, this is a states. O pwede rin naman no, dito, no, yung early sexual activity kasi, syempre, no, yung mga early maturers like for example, girls, diba dalaga na, naliligawan sila. Sila yung nililigawan kasi attractive na sila sa mga boys, no? Kasi they have wider hips, no? Meron ng breast development. Right? No, try to remember yung sa class niya like in grade 6 or grade 5. Yung mga unang nagdadalaga. Sila yung unang nagkakaroon ng boyfriend. Diba? Tapos nagiging na silang curious sa sexual activity. Actually, for in the Philippines, this interest in sexual activity parang medyo late siya. Or I'm not sure. Kasi I have students in the first year who's very interested yung sa sexual self. Yung sa understanding the self. No, dami nilang tanong pagdating sa sex talaga. They worry. They wonder pala, why are people so interested in sex? So, sa edad na 18 years old, no, nagtatanong sila ng ganun. Pagka kasi nagtanong ka, ibig sabihin, sa tingin ko virgin, wala pa experience sa sexual activity. Kasi nga, they wonder why do a lot of teenagers involve in sexual activity? And then substance abuse. Kasi they are already perceived as malaki na, adult, parang itsurang adult na. So some of them get involved in substance abuse. Napapasama sila sa barkada, nababarkada na nagtitake din ng marijuana, shabu, yung mga ganyan. So that's a problem with early developers, early maturers. Let's talk about body image dissatisfaction. During adolescence, the bodies of boys and girls begin to mature into those of men and women. Teenager who has positive feelings about his or her body, particularly about the appearance of that body, is more likely to have a high self-esteem and to have positive peer relationships. So similarly, a teenager who is dissatisfied with his or her body and who focuses on its shortcomings in comparison to unrealistic cultural and social ideals of attractiveness is likely to experience depression and to engage in unhealthy weight control behaviors. Yung mga lalaki halimbawa na hindi, titignan mo rin, no, halimbawa kung early maturers ka or you have, okay sa'yo yung body mo kung lalaki ka, and then you get into sports like basketball, diba? Kung involved ka dun sa mga sports, um, mas marami kang peer relationship, no, yung sa mga ka-team mo. Pero if you're dissatisfied with your body, you tend to compare it with other people. Diba? Like, some girls would feel na they are flat-chested, na parang may kulang sa kanila or kulang sila sa height or yung body nila, kulang sila ng shape, no, yung mga ganyan. Magkakaroon ng dissatisfaction with the body. But then again, this is depende dun sa culture. Kasi this material is from America, so probably this is what they feel. Yung iba naman, like here sa Pilipinas, may mga boys and girls na nagpapalagay ng braces sa ngipin. Parang that one, nakakadagdag siya ng self-esteem kasi maganda yung kanilang ngipin. Parang regardless din kung short sila or hindi ganun ka-develop yung body nila. Pero parang if you're wearing braces and you're here in the Philippines, kasi hindi naman lahat kayang magpa-brace, no? So parang medyo angat ka, irregardless kung sexy ka o hindi. Something like that. Body image dissatisfaction is the discrepancy between a teen's assessment of his or her physical appearance and that teen's internal picture of the ideal body. It also emerges as a strong predictor of teenage depression and one of the most important predictors of eating disorders, exercise dependence, and steroid use among teens. Yung mga lalaki, gusto nila kasi laki ng katawan nila kasi yung ideal body nila, yung gusto nilang appearance, gusto nilang ma-reach, no? Kung sa mga lalaki, kulang sila. Example, kulang sila sa height, kulang sila sa muscles. Though they may take like protein supplements, pampalaki ng muscle, or yung mga steroids, no? Nag-exercise sila, nagba-bodybuilding, because they're concerned with their physical appearance. If your assessment of your physical appearance is hindi, ang layo dun sa ideal body mo, syempre, apektado ang iyong self-esteem, no? So, nagkakaroon sila ng depression, eating disorders, exercise, para sumeksi. Like what we discussed in middle childhood, physical appearance is important. Doon nakabase yung kanilang self-esteem in middle childhood pa lang. So, lalo na pagdating ng adolescent stage nila, nakaangkla din sa physical appearance nila yung kanilang self-esteem. So, try to imagine kung sa puberty, no, tatangkad ka, magkakaroon ka ng breast development, magkakaroon ka rin ng pimples, diba? Magkakaroon ka rin ng hairy. Sa mga lalaki, hindi na sila makinis. Patitigas yung mga buhok, no? Mahaba yung buhok sa legs, pati sa arms. Yung iba, nagkakaroon ng buhok sa dibdib. Pero parang sa older na yata yan. Wala naman sinabi na buhok sa dibdib. Sa pangmatanda na lang. Sa kilikili, sa pubic hair. Diba? Tapos, if your appearance is, it's not ideal. No? Kung sa tingin mo hindi ka nagagandahan or nagagapuhan sa sarili mo, doon nakakabit ang iyong self-esteem. So, magkakaroon ka ng body image dissatisfaction. So, yung iba, mag-e-exercise para sumeksi, or yung sa mga lalaki, mag-e-exercise, magba-bodybuilding para lumaki ang katawan. No, either, kung sa mga boys nga daw, one group would try to lose weight, and then one group would try to wish to become larger and more muscular. Here's the possible impact on girls for early puberty and late puberty, no, early maturers and late maturers. For early maturers, they tend to be unpopular. Unpopular, withdrawn, they have low confidence, they have more deviant behavior, negative body image, more long-term problems, anxiety, and depression. Yung sa mga late maturers naman, they are considered to be more popular, sociable, lovely, school leaders, and have positive body image. Just like yung si Miss Universe 2020 si Rabia Mateo, no? I chose her picture kasi ito yung sa yearbook niya nung high school, no? So she considered herself as beautiful then and now, no? And I think she's also the editor of the newspaper, so popular siya during her adolescent stage. Bakit kaya ganito yung nangyayari for early maturers, no? There are more positive outcome for late maturing girls. What's happening dun sa mga early maturing girls? Ito yung mga sinasabi nila or reasons. A girl who matures very early may look very different from female classmates who may tease her, di ba? Tutoksohin siya, may boobs na, matangkad na siya, and then she will also look older and heavier than boys in the class kapag ka nasa co-ed ka. Halo yung babae at saka lalaki, di ba? Ang laki-laki nung early maturer na girls. Mas malaki pa siya sa mga boys. Mas malaki pa rin siya doon sa mga girls. Pero pagdating naman ng mga after 2 to 3 years, magpapantay na yung mga yan kasi makakahabol na rin yung mga boys, tapos makakahabol na rin yung mga late maturer na mga girls. So what happened kapag may ganitong mga teasing, no? Yung mga early maturing girls, they will seek older companions, particularly boys, who would steer them away from academic pursuit, no? Tapos biglang babarkada sila sa mga lalaki, tapos bubuyuin sila na wag na silang mag-aral, tapos pwedeng sabihin nila, magyosi ka na lang, inuman na lang tayo, no? Yung mga ganyan. So, itong mga early mature na girls, they are not yet prepared to handle that kind of invitation, no? Smoking, drinking, drug use, even sex. So, they are more at risk for psychological distress, no, yung mga early maturing girls, lalo na yung mga hindi exclusive ang school, no, na magkasama yung babae at saka lalaki, no, co-ed, tapos kung marami pa silang mga friends na mga boys. But yung mga problem ng mga early maturing girls, hindi naman to pangmatagalan. Kasi what happens kapag nakahabol na yung mga late maturing girls, no? Magpapantay na sila. What will happen pagdating ng pagtanda na nila, some of them were admired later in middle school. Diba? Kasi kapag yung mga early maturing girls, diba, they were also admired kasi sila na yung mga nilalapitan ng mga boys. Diba, halimbawa kung may crush ka, crush mo yung boy, crush mo yung classmate mong lalaki, tapos lumalapit siya dun sa classmate mong dalaga na, diba, iisipin mo, swerte naman niya. Diba? And then, overall, so yung sinasabi natin, mas may disadvantage yung early maturation ng mga babae, and it's greater for boys than girls. Okay, so let's go naman dun sa mga boys. This is for the early and late maturers for boys. For early maturers, they tend to be popular, confident, independent. They have positive body image, and may be more athletic and taller. Although there's an increased risk for substance abuse and early sexual activity. The boys' body images are more positive than girls, and they are much more likely than girls to welcome their weight gains. Diba mas gusto nila na lalaki rin yung katawan nila, no? With the increase in weight gain, increase in muscle. Teenage boys also hope to be tall, hairy, and handsome, and they may become preoccupied with the aspects of body image that center on physical and athletic prowess. So if you're going to look at this picture, iba itong naka-white na sweatshirt. No, he's perceived to be taller and popular. I mean, compared mo dun sa mga katabi niya na, if you're going to look at that, no, mas poised and confident tong early maturing males. Tapos yung mga medyo short or hindi ganun kalaki yung mga katawan, di ba? They tend to be unpopular. Yung mga late developers or mga late bloomers, they tend to be unpopular, anxious, talkative, parang mga babae, di ba kasi late bloomers sila, attention-seeking, papansin, and they have negative body image, no? Hindi mo naman pwedeng pwersahin na lalaki yung kanilang mga katawan, yung iba bata pa lang nagwe-weights na, hindi pwedeng ganon. Kailangan mong hintayin muna yung natural way na lalaki yung katawan mo bago ka mag-weights kasi parang may effect siya no? Parang hindi ka tatangkad or hindi ka lalaki kasi parang kung mag-weights ka, magbubuhat ka, di ba? Parang ganun. Try to look yung mga nasa pier na mga nagbubuhat doon. Siguro at an early age, they started yung pagbubuhat ng mabibigat. Hindi sila tumatangkad. Ganun. And then yung mga late bloomers na mga boys, they have risk of bullying, depression, and parental conflict. Yung sa late maturer na mga boys, there are also seen to be more eager, anxious, and attention-seeking. Tapos ang sabi pa nga ng mga teacher no, sa isang study, yung mga late maturer na boys, they are perceived as less masculine and less physically attractive than early maturers. Diba? If you're going to look, yung ba sa mga classmates mo, yung mga early maturer boys, diba, nagiging silang athletics, sila yung mga sumasali sa mga basketball kasi matatangkad sila. And mas confident sila, tsaka mas poised. Yung mga late maturer din, they tend to feel somewhat socially inadequate and inferior. According din sa study, yung mga late maturing boys, they have lower educational aspirations than early maturers do. And they even score lower on school achievement tests early in adolescence. This is early in adolescence, no? We're not talking about college life. Why? What's the problem? Or why yung mga early maturing boys, they have an advantage? Syempre, they have greater size and strength, which makes them more capable athletes. So, magkakaroon sila ng more social recognition from adults and peers. Halimbawa, kung anak mo lalaki, tapos involved na sa basketball, di ba? So, kahit yung tatay mo magiging proud sa'yo. Tapos, kung sa basketball, magkakaroon ka pa ng mga fans. Hindi lang sa mga babae, pati dun sa mga lalaki, di ba, na nagagalingan sa'yo. Plus, yung mga early maturers, they already have an adult-like appearance na yung ibang tao pwedeng ma-overestimate yung competencies nila, yung kaya nilang gawin. Kaya ang nangyayari, binibigyan sila ng mga responsibilities or privileges na naka-reserve lang sa mga older individuals. Diba? Ang galing. So the next question is, ito bang mga differences ng early and late maturers, does this persist in adulthood hanggang sa pagtanda ba? Sabi, as a study, in general, they fade over time. By 12th grade, pagdating ng grade 12 senior high school, no? Differences in academic performance between early and late maturers have already disappeared. So, lalo na, pagdating ng college life, no, sa early adulthood, wala na yung gano'n ng mga popularity, yung anxious, yung mga talkative, no? Pwedeng lahat na sila. Humabol na yung mga late maturers. Pwedeng all of them may be involved in athletics or tumangkad na rin yung mga iba. But then, there's another study from the University of California, yung mga early maturing boys daw, mas sociable pa rin sila, mas confident, and more responsible in their 30s than their peers who had matured later. Sexual development. Many early social interactions tend to be non-sexual. Example, text messaging, phone call, messenger, no email, but by the age of 12 or 13, some young people may pair off and begin dating and experimenting with kissing, touching, and other physical contact such as oral sex. The vast majority of young adolescents are not prepared emotionally or physically for oral sex and sexual intercourse. If adolescents this young do have sex, they are highly vulnerable for sexual and emotional abuse, STI, sexually transmitted infections, HIV, and early pregnancy. For STIs in particular, adolescents are slower to recognize symptoms, tell partners, and get medical treatment, which puts them at risk of infertility and even death. So, ang STI, kapag ka hindi yan na-diagnose ng mas maaga, kasi yung mga bata, hindi nila alam yung mga simptomas, pwedeng magkaroon sila, I mean, they are at risk for infertility and even death, no, mamamatay kasi yan ay mga infection. Like for example, HIV, no, pwede yan mag-exacerbate, lumala, magiging siyang AIDS. Ang AIDS ay nakakamatay. And then, yung mga oral, I mean, early pregnancy, oral sex, yung mga bata, nag-experiment sila, una pa, kissing lang, touching, hanggang sa magkaroon na ng sexual intercourse. So, maraming effect yun, no? Like early pregnancy. So here, I got this from a website this is in the Philippine setting, no? Napakarami ng mga adolescents yung nagbubuntis ng maaga. No, marami silang storya dyan. Because nga, yung sa adolescents, hindi pa ganun ka mature yung kanilang prefrontal cortex. So, talagang madami pang um, trial and error pa, no? Hindi pa sila nakapag-isip ng tama. This is the status of teenage pregnancy in the Philippines. So I got this from npr.org website. So according to this site, over a 10-year period, 1.2 million Filipino girls between the ages of 10 and 19 have had a child. Napakabata. That's a rate of 24 babies per hour. And the rate of teenage pregnancy is rising. According to the most recent data collected every 10 years, in 2002, 6.3% of teenagers were pregnant. By 2013, it has gone up to 13.6%. Last August, this month lang, no, the Philippines Economic Development Agency declared the number of teenage pregnancies a national social emergency. Tulad nasa picture, ang bata pa nung bata, no? May baby na siya. So according to the website then, the pandemic has made the situation worse, with Manila under a strict lockdown, including limited access to medical facilities, no public transportation, and harshly enforced rules on not going out. Access to birth control has been severely curtailed, particularly for teenagers. What happened? The University of the Philippines Population Institute is predicting a baby boom in 2021, an estimated 751,000 additional unplanned pregnancies because of the conditions created by the pandemic. Adolescents ages 14 to 16 understand the consequences of unprotected sex and teen parenthood if properly taught, but cognitively they may lack the skills to integrate this knowledge into everyday situations or consistently to act responsibly in the heat of the moment. By age 17, many adolescents have willingly experienced sexual intercourse. Kagaya nitong mga nasa picture, no? Teens who have early sexual intercourse report strong peer pressure as a reason behind their decision. Itong mga nasa picture, maaga silang nabuntis. Some adolescents are just curious about sex and want to experience it. Becoming a sexually healthy adult is a developmental task of adolescents that requires integrating psychological, physical, cultural, spiritual, societal, and educational factors. So kung titingnan natin, most of the adolescents who are not in school, sila yung mga nagiging biktima nitong mga early teenage pregnancy, mga nasa bahay lang. But then, if we are in school, tapos may nababalitaan tayo na nabubuntis ng mga estudyante, most probably, syempre, meron silang mga boyfriend. And then, some naman, yung mga involved sa academics, nandun yung kanilang interest. So, they belong to that teens who are curious about sex and want to experience it. Pero hanggang dun lang sila sa curiosity, no? Not necessarily that they are experiencing or trying sexual activity. Additionally, healthy adult relationships are more likely to develop when adolescent impulses are not shamed or feared. Guidance is certainly needed, but acknowledging that adolescent sexuality development is both normal and positive would allow for more open communication so adolescents can be more receptive to education concerning the risk. So this website, yung nakita ko, there's several stories about teenage pregnancy, what happened to sa stories nila. So parang may nanligaw lang, binilhan lang ng fishball, sinamahan lang na kumanta sa karaoke, tapos yung lalaki naglilinis sa bahay, tapos yun, no, parang ang ginawa ng lalaki is para patunayan na parang akin ka, no, parang ownership, no, so binuntis niya yung babae, iyon, nabuntis yung babae, tapos yung lalaki naman nakulong kasi nagnakaw, tapos yung babae, dinisown ng mother, pinalaya sa bahay, so hirap talaga yung nanay na buntis, palalakihin niya yung anak niya na mag-isa. So, pag kinumpal mo lahat yan, yung mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas, dadagdag ng dadagdag yan. So, kailangan ng proper education, birth control, know what happens to them, and most especially, sa tingin ko, if these children or if this teenager ay nasa school, pumapasok sila, diba may pagkakaabalahan sila, natututo pa sila, mas ma-achieve pa nila yung mga pangarap nila sa buhay. According to Sigmund Freud, adolescents are in the genital stage of psychosexual development. This stage begins around the time that puberty starts and ends at death. So, ang lawak ng span ng genital stage, no? Simula puberty hanggang ikaw ay mamatay. According to Freud, the genital stage is similar to the phallic stage in that its main concern is the genitalia. However, this concern is now conscious. Kasi yung sa phallic stage, unconscious pa yun. The genital stage comes about when the sexual and aggressive drives have returned. Kasi yung sa previous stage, no, yung latency stage, dormant pa. Walang erogenous zone. But the source of sexual pressure expands outside of the mother and father, dun sa Oedipus at saka Electra complex ng phallic stage. During the genital stage, the ego and superego have become more developed. This allows the individual to have more realistic way of thinking and to establish an assortment of social relations apart from the family. So, pagdating ng middle childhood, latency stage, they are more concerned dun sa mga academic, sa school, sa play. Pagdating ng genital stage, meron na rin silang social relations apart from the family. This is the last stage, and it's considered the highest level of maturity. In this stage, a person's concern shifts from primary drive gratification, sa instinctual, to applying secondary process thinking to gratify desires symbolically and intellectually by means of friendship, intimate relationships, and family and adult responsibilities. So, yung gratification, hindi na dun sa instinctual drive. Parang sa mga bata. No, you get gratification from friendship din, sa boyfriend, girlfriend, sa nanay, tatay mo, at saka sa mga adult responsibilities. Not just about sexual pleasure.